Okay. So this will be a feedback slash critique for Cece. You might know me as Shazam or Captain Marvel on the Discords. Just a nerd who likes Tekken, and I like Byron. And I like Peter's YouTube. Even though it's all Brian focused, like I've actually learned a lot. Like, I was watching this video on the 1-2 string and how to use that, and just focusing on jab pressure. I am by no means a professional at this game. I'm just someone who enjoys playing Tekken, and really all I'm really here for is, based on my experiences playing Brian, right, or fighting him, watching Jimmy, watching me, etc, 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 here are things that I think you can be improving on, or here are some options for you to consider, right? At the end of the day, it's just my 2 cents, and all I'm really here for is, hey, hopefully I'm providing some food for thought and hope it helps out, right? With that being said, let's get right into it.
Hey, Space. Nobody wants to go in? Hey.
Okay, so what is down back 3? Yeah. Down back 3. Huh, actually, God, by the end of this, I'll actually learn Brian. That's crazy.
Oh, we're 10 seconds in. We finally get somebody.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, I don't know about this combo here. Ooh. Oh no.
So right here, I felt like you had the right idea. Just oh, well, maybe not eating that, but just dash in a little bit. Test them. Are they going to start ducking right away? If they don't, start doing low kicks, right?
Okay.
Hatchet's got pretty good horizontal range, right? They're not, if they're not consistently KBD like all the way away, they're not going to be backdashing it, right? It's got pretty decent range. They need to sidestep it if they want to like effectively shut it down, right? And I think right here, before you back off, because Risotto hasn't shown anything that they're going to be very party oriented Yoshi. Currently the game plan seems to be they're going to be very passive. They're going to be very, I'm going to focus on fundamental jabbing and down forward 1. At the very least, they're not partying too much at the moment, right? They're not suddenly doing avoiding the puddle and all this other stuff. So I think you start putting pressure on them by just immediately start wrapping up, sending out those hatchet kicks. Down back 3 also works. I think down back 3 is pretty solid. It's got decent range. But the idea should be, okay, my opponent's just being very passive. They're waiting for me to make the first move, so make the first move, right? After they block the mid, don't backdash right away. Focus more on, all right, I'm going to start doing hatchet kicks. So right after here, when you, right, why the forward 2, right? What in your head was, oh, he's gonna press a button right here. He's gonna challenge me after eating 1 down back 3. Clearly that's what's gonna happen, right? What was the mindset going into it? I think it could just be nerves, right? So it could just be nerves, and I'm not gonna try and harp on that too much. But you need to be asking yourself, it's just kind of like, what am I doing here that what exactly is my opponent doing that warrants this specific response? Because if the Yoshi just ducks because, maybe he's expecting a jab or another low, right? Because you went from down back 3 into forward 2, right? And if the Yoshi dashes and ducks and low blocks, suddenly you're going to get launched. So you have to be careful with that. I felt like you were doing fine just trying to close in the distance. Focus more on closing in the distance and then doing a hatchet, right? Like letting him run in at you like that, right? Obviously, you press something or you backdash at the wrong time and then he launched you, which is unfortunate. But I think the principle of the matter is, okay, Don't approach with these crazy duckable highs, right? Yes, they're very fast, but there's a lot of risk if the opponent, if you're already using lows, right? Focus more on, I'm going to push him to the wall with just movement, right? Just by moving forward, Risotto is backing himself into the wall where your wall pressure is going to be insane, right? I like Yoshi, but I don't think his wall pressure is going to be anywhere close to the level of Byron, right? I mean, that's not fair. Yoshi's got pretty good Oki options. But you get what I'm saying, right? You don't need to worry so much about all this, like, oh, I gotta preemptively strike here. It's like, no. If your opponent's just backdashing, keep dashing forward and just let them corner themselves. That's what walls are for, right? And if they stop backdashing, hatchet kick, right? At least that's my 2 cents, right? I'm not by no means a Byron player. If Peter or if I think Draymond plays Byron. Draymond? Right? If they have other things to say, I would defer to them, but that's just my 2 cents on it right now.
Well, I don't know about this combo here.
Nice. Okay, so like right here, right? Immediately you see the opponent not rolling, not doing low kicks or anything like that. Just focus on what your ground hitting options are. For Byron, I think that's just down 4. Maybe he's got some other stuff, right? But if they're staying on the ground, you just start down 4ing them, right? And you just get in that free chip damage. I'm not sure why all of a sudden you're doing like this particular string. What is that? Down 3-2 or something? Because it's like that doesn't hit grounded, right? And you risk them timing their wake up into more, they hit you out of whatever you were doing.
I can already tell. Oh.
Nice.
Okay,
okay, so like right here, right?
Okay, I can already tell.
You get the hit in. What'd you hit him out of?
Oh.
Weird. Oh, spin kicks. Okay, his back is against the wall. Why are you backdashing? Why are you sacrificing your wall pressure? Right? So, if you've seen a different video of mine, or just in general, my perspective is, if you have the life lead, let your opponent approach you, right? However, just like everything else in Tekken, there's layers to it, right? There's always caveats. Even though you have the life lead, I wouldn't recommend approaching normally, right? Because let your opponent come to you. That's where Byron can excel with his keep out, with his other tools, blah, 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 blah. When your opponent's back is to the wall, that's your time to shine, right? Like if you get forward 3 or whatever that like advancing knee that Byron has that he can like combo into jet upper for crazy ass wall splat, right? That's where you need to start putting on the pressure, right? So I think backing up was not the play. Right, it's a safe strategy, but I think even though it is higher risk, it is more likely that the opponent will crumble under Byron's wall pressure than it is Byron dying for it per se, right? Because what are you doing? You're using taunt on wake up, which they'll die if they tech roll, right? And you're doing a lot of mids, right? You're not going to be too worried about, especially against Risotto, who hasn't shown to be partying too much. They're just kind of dashing back and forth. Like, you can expect them to have a more passive offense. They're not going to suddenly hit you out of whatever it is you're doing. Unfortunate.
Definitely some unfamiliarity.
How did you do that so fast? That's crazy. Nice.
No. Cece, you had the right read.
Fortunate.
You had the right read, my man. You blocked low. That was correct. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I didn't get the wall. Unfortunate.
It was not bad.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This Twitch stuff. Okay, so it wasn't. It was a little too slow. But that knee, right? That knee at the wall is insane. So going back to the previous issue of, if your opponent's back is to the wall, don't back up, right? Put on that pressure. Maybe you don't have to dash in and run in at them, but just be this immovable wall, right? Your opponent's back is to the wall, and in the front is this Byron who's also another wall, right? Corner them and force them to do something, or if they're passive, then you start pressing buttons.
Not bad.
Yoshi's weird, so I got nothing on that end. Oh, good break.
Good throw tag. see this? Jay and Sweetheart? Look at this. We got first dance.
So like right here, okay, so they do the, I keep calling them manji kicks, and I'm deathly afraid that they're not called that. I'm just gonna call them the low spin kicks, right? So you get the low spin kicks, and they do the wall standing 4, and you immediately challenge with jab. Typically when people do wall standing 4, right, they're not necessarily gonna be pressing buttons right after. They're gonna be holding back to block, because the wall standing 4 is kind of like the safe option of, all right, I press wall standing 4, my turn's over, and I accept that. But you immediately go for jabs here, and I think that's not bad. But why not just immediately do hatchet kick, right? If they block the jabs, right, you get nothing. You stay safe, but it's whatever. But if they're going to be stand blocking because they're holding back, because Risotto hasn't really shown that they're going to start flash ducking or just holding down back, right? So they're going to be walking back, and then hatchet kick will still hit them, right? Maybe I'm overhyping the range on hatchet, but I'm pretty sure you'll still hit them. So experiment with that. I get that you would want to do jabs to discourage it, but so the first way it should go is you start doing hatchets. So Risotto will be like, well shit, I have to start blocking, or I have to start challenging that, right? And then based on his reaction to you doing hatchets after this wall standing 4 situation where he's supposedly safe, then you adjust your offense, right? Does he start blocking low? You start doing mids. Does he start challenging you? That's when the jabs come out, right? But anytime you block wall standing 4, his turn is over. But I think you can, and it's not like you can, it's not like you get a guaranteed combo, but I think an opportunity for sure to start chipping in. Or really it's hatchet, so start chunking in for some damage.
We got first dance.
But just doing jabs while it's the safe play, it's really just kind of, I feel like you could be doing a bit more. Right, and then right here we see, I rewind it too far, unfortunately. But like right here you see the issue of over relying on this commitment when it's like, why? What is Risotto doing where he's rushing at you that you're like, oh, I need to do forward too, right? Unfortunate. In this matchup in general, I mean, double check with Peter or anyone else in the Discord that plays Brian. I'm just not sure if you want to use the strings as much, right? Because the issue you run into is that, yeah, I mean, they can just hop kick, but also flash, right? Anytime there's a gap in a string, flash is going to wreck Brian, right? So it's a very different matchup as a result of that. Granted, I think, so it should be like this. The baseline is maybe not use the strings because of flash, but the first thing you got to test is, do they flash your strings, right? Do they actually know when and where to flash? And if they don't, start using the strings, right? Use them as another tool to help give yourself a variety of offensive methods, right? I've talked about this in other stuff before, but it goes back to that mental stack of, if the opponent is only on the lookout for one method of attack because that's all you ever do, right? It's a lot easier for them to defend. But whereas if you attack from a variety of angles, right, it's much harder to defend, and the opponent is more susceptible, right? So you need to be constantly putting pressure on your opponent, not just in game, but in the mental game as well, right? By having them be on the lookout for all these other moves. If you never do those moves, they're never going to be on the lookout for them, right? So give them reasons to start like freaking out and doing other stuff.
Am I being bamboozled? Are these really green rank and first Dan players?
Nice.
What? Oh no.
Oh no.
Gotta know about that.
Yeah. You gotta sidestep that.
Yoshi and some other characters, if you,
okay, for sure be careful about that move, right? For sure be careful about that. And also, why are you doing that, right? Why the 1+2 now, right? Because it's not like Risotto started sidestepping a bunch, right? And even though 1+2 is good, I don't know if it beats the Yoshi spin, but I don't know.
Yoshi and some other
It was just a weird decision. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
If you end up blocking their spring kick, it's going to
I don't talk about matchup knowledge too much because anything involving punishment, it's really that's up to you, right? You just gotta start looking up. All right, Yoshi punishment guide. What the hell do I punish Yoshi on? And start doing that. But that sword stab poke, right? That's a mid high, and you gotta start ducking that. He has mid follow ups, but it's kind of like it's a free launch, right? And Yoshi has a lot of cool things, right? Excuse me. But Brian's damage shits on Yoshi, right? There's no way Brian is going to be there's no way Yoshi is going to be out damaging Brian. So having those key opportunities, like after blocking Yoshi back 2-1 and you duck the high and get the launch, is very key, right? Just got to be on the lookout and got to be ready with the reaction.
It's actually going to give him a combo. So sometimes it's actually better just to take the hit.
So like right here, it's another situation of, okay, you go for the jabs, right? And he does, okay, wait, what move is that? Is it 443 plus 4? No, that's not it. That's safe? Holy shit, that does so much damage. That's crazy. Okay, that's also not it. Okay, that's also not it. I don't know what move this is. I'm sorry. Anyway, I don't think Yoshi is that much plus after this move.
It's actually going to give him a combo.
This move right here, right? He doesn't transition. He can transition that into fly stance, but he doesn't, right? One, you can react to the fly stance transition and just jab him out of it most of the time. But like right here, it goes back into, well, you jabbed him out of something. But something to consider is that when you block moves like that, even though the opponent is safe, it's an opportunity for you, right? Because they're going to be expecting, Risotto's shown to be very kind of like passive, right? They're not like two-party animal. So instead of going for jabs, again, go for that hatchet kick, right? I guess something to think about is just kind of like, in any situation where you're just going to go for jab strings, right? Could you have done hatchet instead? Was the opponent just going to stand block, right? And, you know, squeezing out as much damage as you can with your chunky lows and frame advantage as much as you can. So just looking for opportunities like that where, okay, I can do the safe thing, which is a safely challenge him, or I can do the slightly more risk, right? Because Corsical, like hatchet's kind of slow if you're really up close and the opponent likes to press buttons, but if they're not, you get free damage and +5, right? That's pretty good, pretty good. And then it starts that whole like, fuck, is he gonna hatchet? Is he gonna back one? Blah 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 blah, right? It's all that other stuff. Nice, good low pokes.
I like it. Catch it. Catch it.
Yeah.
That's the PYM special right there. Plus frames. Okay, or not.
Nice. Okay, so what happened there?
Catch it to down 4-1. That's the PYM special right there. Plus frames. Okay, or not.
But you see what I'm talking about, right? Like you're dashing back and forth, but as opposed to the previous situations when you're just like, oh, let me just keep dashing back and forth. You just do hatchet kick and you get chunky damage and heavy frame advantage, and you're able to, you know, really mess with Risotto.
Damn, these boys are taking the time. They're like, all right, that's my turn. Now it's your turn. Now it's my turn. Now it's your turn. All right. Now it's my turn? Okay,
nice.
Yeah, my turn.
Unfortunate.
Damn. Playing very methodically. Trying not to steal turns.
So I don't think you run in. I don't know what exactly the point is here, right? When you run in like this, just focus more on just dash blocking. Just continue to dash block, because you need running in at Yoshi, right, is going to be very tricky, right? At any point he can do some unblockable stuff that you'll run into and all this other crazy shit. And it's just kind of like, why, right? You don't want to. You want to be very cautious about overextending. So instead, you focus more on, all right, let me dash in, wait for an opportunity. Either the Yoshi whiffs and then you use your solid whiff punishment, or you know the risotto continues to hold back, and then you just do hatchet kick again, right? Because they haven't shown to be like very preemptively ducking and all this other stuff. I think that's punishable, but I don't know.
This one's yours. This is yours. Now it's mine. That's yours. Oh, the whiff punish with back 2-2. Low. Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So that goes back into, you know, identifying your ground hitting options and focusing in on those.
Oh no. Hatchet. Nice. Wait. Nice timing. Nice timing. Baiting out the flash.
Nice.
Oh God. Here we go. What's the combo? There we go. Okay. 2 apiece.
I don't know what Yoshi pressed, but that was death.
Anybody's game right now. I don't know how this one's gonna turn out, chat.
Weird. Okay, so like right here, right?
Anybody's game right now.
This is tough. This is tough.
I don't know how this one's gonna turn out, chat. Hatchet on lying. Okay. Go to Tekken jail. Turn out, chat. Hatchet on lying.
I think you have the right idea. Focus on letting the Yoshi corner themselves, right? And then letting yourself hang back and avoid getting, you know, tricked into, oh, they're gonna do the stupid back turn stance and then, you know, suddenly cancel, and then they're doing like full crouch down forward 4 or something, right? So I think you have the right idea. This is fine. I think let's keep going. I think you're giving up too much ground when you don't need to. I feel like you need to focus more on cornering them, right, as much as you can, and be very careful with forward 2, right? If when you could forward 2 and it's not like the Yoshi's doing crazy amount of backdashing, you just hatchet kick or keep doing down back 3, right? You just keep chipping in, and eventually the Yoshi either has to start being like, fuck, I can't keep eating these lows, or he starts blocking low, or he starts challenging you, right? And when he starts challenging you, then all your counter hit stuff can start kicking in.
Flash duck. Hatchet. Okay, spin away. Down forward 1-4. Oh, 1-2-1. 1-2-3. The oldest mix.
So like right here, right after like the 3rd or 4th jab, I think you've done a lot of jabs into hatchet, like at least 3 or 4, and he's never really blocked low once, right? And I think a lot of that is you need to be more cognizant of that, of like, okay, my opponent is clearly not blocking low. I'm just gonna keep doing hatchet until they start doing that, right? Oh, nice. Unfortunate.
Is this really a first Dan player?
Really good avoiding the flash. That shit's hard.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Is that I forgot.
Did they choose the infinite stage, or do you guys choose random?
Lava stage.
Oh no, this is doubles brimstone. Oh god, I always run into that stage.
That's right. I have just one job. Damn. Neither player wants to really press a button and get counter hit.
Oh, huh. Never seen back one whiff. That's crazy.
Okay.
Okay, so after back one hits, what do you do?
Neither player wants to. Really press a button.
I'll save it. I'll save it for later. I'll go into my personal opinion stuff.
Yoshi has some really gimpy situations.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Oh no.
Okay. Punish 1-1.
That was
or just
a
one
weird
jab.
play.
Okay, one jab. Not even one.
What is that? Course I go back 4? I guess.
Oh, he tried?
Oh, that was like a
Tried
fucked up
to
full course
block
then.
with the sword speed. I don't know what happened here. Oh no, okay. Oh my god. His body just went through the fucking sword.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
That is how it be.
Soto said, get off me. Your plus frames mean nothing to me.
Nice.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
A little late on the punish. At least we tried.
Okay, so like right here you can see they're at the wall, right? And he's just backdashing, right? He's not sidestepping. He's not ready to he's not trying to challenge you a lot with jabs and stuff like that. He's just kind of backdashing, waiting for you to make the first move. And I think you hit him out of a backdash there. So like right here, I think you just start letting rip the hatchet kicks, right? Like right there, instead of trying to go for a whiff punish, I think you just go hatchet kick again, right? He's been stand blocking the entire round. He doesn't really flash duck or low block that often, and your lows are more threatening from standing, at least, right? Like Yoshi has some neat lows, but you know, when both of you are just standing around, Yoshi's not entering crouch as often, right? Hatchet kick is gonna do more work for you than Yoshi's standing lows, right? Nice.
Very smart.
Oh.
Why do people say Brian is such a good
Oh, no
design
break.
character?
Unfortunate.
He has clear strengths and weaknesses.
Is that
Not
a
like some
tech
of the
drop
new
or something?
characters
That's
in
crazy.
games like Leroy, where he doesn't have a clear weakness. Ooh. Oh, you had it. Cece was actually correct. The way to actually punish that, the triple low kicks, is you block up until the last
Nice.
one you think they're going to do, and then you do.
I don't know what you hit him out of, but nice.
Lost inning for wood.
Ah, that was it. That was it.
Also dig jab, I suppose.
Okay. I know I did 3 rounds for Risotto. I do want to do more, but I will come back and because I feel like a lot of it could just be tournament nerves. Like I think someone was talking about like, oh, early nerves, whatever. I will come back and revisit the later rounds to give more to see like, okay, after you guys have gotten acclimated to each other for a little bit, what does the match look like? Neutral, punishment / matchup knowledge, combo / Oki, personal opinion stuff. Neutral. I felt like you were too passive. I think you could stand more to gain by taking into account the opponent you're facing. Okay, yes, it's Yoshi. You don't want to blindly rush in because, as you saw, flash is a thing, and I get that. But look at how often Risotto just kind of stood back and held back to block, right? Versus how often you were able to gain ground and close the gap without any fear, right? Yoshi wasn't using down forward 4, he wasn't using jabs, he wasn't using any any crazy keep out tools. And I feel like you could have taken more advantage by getting in a lot more chip damage with hatchet than you initially were, right? At least in the first start. After the first hatchet connects and you're in that +5 situation and you gotta go for like frame traps and stuff, okay, yeah, you want to be a bit more careful. But in the neutral, when you guys are both dancing back and forth, definitely be a bit more aggressive with your poking, right? Either it's hatchet, down back 3, down 4, or something, right? To start getting in that chip damage. I think I don't quite understand the preemptive forward 2. It worked out a few times, but I feel like more often you need to first give your opponent a reason why they want to start mashing, right? Why is the Yoshi gonna press into forward 2 when they haven't really done that and you're not really giving them as strong of an incentive, right? So focusing more on, okay, what's a tool you want to use? You want to use forward 2. How do you first go about doing that? You have to make your opponent scared and make them wanting to like press a bunch of buttons. How do you go about doing that? Start using hatchet kicks, start cornering them to the wall, right? Either push them to the wall with just movement and patience, or you start hatchet kicking them, and once they start losing the life lead, they'll be like, oh shit, I have to do something, and then forward 4-2 can work out. Excuse me. I feel like there were just a lot of situations of, okay, you're not sure how to pressure an opponent who's just passive and very turtly, right? And you're like, fuck, how do I open this guy up? But that's the thing. It's that, like, you don't need to open them up, right? Right? A lot of opportunities are going to appear as just, I got a chunky low in and I have the life lead. That's it. That's all you need, right? And I get it, Tekken 7's the, spam counter hit launchers, the game, and all that other stuff, but it's like, okay, I can, just keep chipping in with hatchet kick. Getting in, what, hatchet's like 20-25 damage? Watch it be like the same as Yoshi. Why do I think everything is like 20-25? 23 damage! Okay, hatchet kick's solid, right? It's that not every instance of opening up the opponent is going to be like, oh, I got this crazy launcher opening an opportunity, right? Sometimes it's just going to be, I got in a hatchet, and then I got in down forward 2-1, right? And chunky damage in a very, very low commitment situation. So focusing more on keep piling up these opportunities, right? Yes, it's not a crazy combo launch, but after your opponent's eaten like 3 hatchets and you got 60 free damage for very little effort, right? The advantage is clearly going to start snowballing in your favor. And I think that's something to really work on, is focusing on these a lot more minute opportunities to start racking up advantage. Right? It's not a launch, it's not flashy, but you pile them up enough and it'll either A, seal the round and you're golden, or B, lead to like more opportunities because the opponent's like, fuck, I can't just keep eating hatchet all day every day, I have to start challenging it, right? So that's something to consider in neutral. And punishment, well let's talk about punishment / matchup knowledge, right? I'm not going to talk about like block punishment stuff, you can always look that up yourself. How to approach pressure given a character with a 6-frame fucking launcher, right? Flash is scary, right? I get that, but you need to first force your opponent into using it, because you can do a lot with punishing it, right? Yes, it's a very powerful tool, but the hitbox is ass, right? It's literally inside Yoshi. And as long as you can stagger your offense or focus more on, all right, let me just keep doing hatchets repeatedly and fucking up his timing, then, you're not going to have to worry about it as much, right? So I'm not sure where if the hesitation was coming from the nerves, or if you were focusing on, oh, I don't want to eat flash, right? But I think you need to focus more on how to keep up the pressure, right? I felt like you sacrifice pressure too much, and it's more important that you keep up the pressure, so then you force Yoshi to use moves like flash, which you can, I think jet upper consistently punishes, right? It's a very fast move, so you have to practice the punish, you want to be ready for it, but once you're ready for it, right, yes, you have to worry about flash, but if you can make the Yoshi second guess their timing on the flash and giving you extra few seconds of opportunity for pressure, you open up a lot of opportunities there. Other aspects of punishment / matchup knowledge. Not entirely sure. That might come up later. I'll watch more rounds later. Combos / Oki. Tightening up the combos, there were some unfortunate drops and stuff like that. In terms of Oki, yeah, I talked about it, like, you're facing an opponent who's very passive and likes to stay on the ground, right? And Brian has ground hitting options, so focus on that, right? Heck, even Snake Edge hits grounded. If they're gonna stay on the ground for that long, Snake Edge, right? Get that chunky damage in. Obviously, don't use it too often, but if they're going to stay on the ground and you want more damage than just down 4, then just do Snake Edge, right? Punish the opponent for staying on the ground so that they'll want to tech roll, they'll want to get up with buttons, and then you can start adjusting your offense based on that, right? Yeah, so definitely experiment more with your Oki against a passive opponent who's just staying on the ground, what you can do there. Personal opinion stuff. Options that I think are neat, but your mileage may vary. I don't think, I mean, granted, this is an issue of like my lack of Brian knowledge. I don't think there's too many options that I'm like, oh man, you need to be using this, that you weren't already using. I just know the basics. But experimenting more with how you apply them, right? In situations where you're just going to jab, but the opponent is very passive, could you instead have just done, you know, maybe back one or hatchet kick, right? It's that ebb and flow of, okay, I'm risking some safety, but I'm going to get chunky damage out of this. And you can start piling those up. And then also, not only getting damage, but you're incentivizing your opponent. We're like, oh, I can't just keep eating hatchet. I'm going to try and challenge here. And then on a read, you know, you do down forward 2-1, you do whatever, or you do, you know, start doing jabs, stuff like that, right? It's a lot more, I feel like you need to start taking more of your opponent into account. What are they not doing, right? They're not flash ducking, they're not doing random hop kicks, they're not rushing in at you, right? And you need to start incentivizing them to do that, because then you can open up opportunities for punishment, opportunities for counter hits, whiff punishment, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that's all I got for now, at least in first impressions. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope it helped, and I'll watch some later rounds to see what it's like once you guys are more acclimated to each other and how that goes. All right, stay safe. Have a good one.